Okay, so still looking at private sector organisations, but this time we're looking at organisations that have objectives other than maximising profit. So these are the specification objectives, and we're going to be looking at charities, cooperatives, those are workers and consumer cooperatives. You can look at building societies. There's not so many of those around anymore, but they are a type of, well, theoretically not-for-profit. Pressure groups, and then all of these organisations together can be lumped under this term social enterprises. Now, so it used to be not-for-profit organisations that we'd kind of lump them under, but actually some of them might want to make a profit for quite specific reasons, maybe not just to distribute to shareholders. So there's this new term that's kind of emerged, social enterprises, to kind of cover all of these types of groups. And sometimes social enterprises can mean something quite specific as well. But you might get a nice essay question on this area, and it would be basically explain how not-for-profit organisations are similar to or different from for-profit organisations. So when we're looking at the different types of organisations, basically it's just all of these on the left-hand side here: charities, cooperatives, building societies, pressure groups and social enterprises. So if we think about what their main aims are, usually charities aim to raise money or raise awareness about a specific cause. So if we're thinking about Oxfam, it's obviously raising money, but also raising awareness of the plight of countries where there's famine. And if we're thinking about Cancer Research UK, we're thinking about them raising money to fund cancer research, but also they have lots of kind of information about how you can kind of check for lumps and those types of things, and what different cancers actually mean. Cooperatives, there's two types of cooperatives: consumer cooperatives like the co-op, the shop, where traditionally, and there's a great history of this in Manchester actually, but traditionally it would be people, maybe farmers, I think the history of co-ops comes from, where rather than buying their kind of the grain or the seeds that they need from a profit-making shop, which would obviously kind of add on a little bit of a margin, a few farmers would group together, buy in bulk, so they get those kind of economies of scale, purchasing economies of scale, and be able to buy the resources that they need for a little bit cheaper. But it could also be that they have like an ethical stance. So the co-op stores these days sell a lot of fair trade products. Or it could be a workers' cooperative, such as John Lewis is a fantastic workers' cooperative. And, one of the reasons that they're a workers' cooperative is just to provide good working conditions and a good kind of organisation that people really feel part of it, like a family. Building societies traditionally were set up to provide cheaper loans and mortgages, because actually their customers, the people that kind of had their mortgages or saved with them, would be part owners, I suppose. So a little bit like a consumer cooperative in a way, but for financial organisations. You don't see many of these around anymore. There are a few kind of local ones, like the Skipton Building Society, I can think of off the top of my head, and Nationwide is still a building society, but a lot of them just turned into banks quite a while ago. Pressure groups, so Greenpeace, or there's local pressure groups such as like Save Our Local Post Office or Save Our Local Pub. Usually they're trying to raise awareness or apply pressure to a government or an organisation, try and get them to change a decision or make a certain decision. And then social enterprises includes all of these different organisations. It's just an umbrella term, really, to include them. There isn't a legal structure. If you were going to set up a business, there's no legal structure called social enterprise. You're either going to fall under kind of profit making or kind of a charity kind of legal structure. But social enterprises is a term that applies to all of these different types of structures, but it's quite a modern term, so people use it in slightly different ways. And one of the ways that Welsh Board use it is meant to mean that it's an organisation that's run like a business. So it's got some similarities to a business, but rather than just providing a good or a service to make profit, they're providing something that helps, that something would be a good or a service that benefits a community or a specific cause. Or they're trying to make profit, but they're trying to reinvest it into the community or a specific cause. Okay, so let's have a look at a few social enterprises. So the big issue, we could say, is a social enterprise. I think it's actually would be registered as a charity, but rather than just kind of raising money and distributing it to homeless people, what they're doing is they're actually giving homeless people the opportunity to be able to sell the big issue and have a sort of job and an income. 15, Jamie Oliver's restaurant, where he employed 15 unemployed young people each year who maybe haven't come out of school with very good qualifications, and he trains them up to be chefs. Would be a social enterprise. So he's running it as a business. He wants it to be a fantastic restaurant. It is a fantastic restaurant. If you go on the website, it looks really, really good. But he also wants to use that money to train young people. And then Divine Chocolates, obviously fair trade chocolates, so giving farmers a fair price for their cocoa beans. So that, obviously they want to sell products, they want to sell as many as possible, but they also want to reinvest that money. Okay, so this is a good section. I'm just going to kind of type in some notes here. So what would be the similarities between not-for-profit or social enterprises and for-profit organisations? Well, they both want to be efficient. They want to reduce any costs and waste. What else would they want to be? We could say that they want to be provide high quality. They want to reach a wide audience. So, when you think about it, there's many, many similar kind of characteristics. What about different aims? So most of them, reinvest the profits that they make, or at least they don't, they don't aim for profits. I think this is going to take my thing off balance. There we go. Don't aim for profit. Maybe they employ people that might not be, on paper, the best for the jobs. I'm just thinking about Jamie Oliver's Restaurant 15, but they, employ people to give them a chance. So employ workers based on social need. Sometimes I'm going to put a question mark there, rather than just necessarily, Jamie Oliver, if he wants to open up a fantastic restaurant, he could just employ, fantastic chefs. He's got a great name. He'll definitely attract them. But his idea behind this is that he's going to employ young people that don't have skills, don't have great opportunities, and give them those skills and give them those opportunities. I used to visit a cafe actually in London who they employed people with Down syndrome in the cafe to make all the food and serve and kind of wait on all the tables, and employing people that maybe lots of people with Down syndrome lead, really, really fulfilling, high-functioning kind of lifestyles, but maybe would have found it quite difficult to get a job maybe somewhere else. Maybe they need a little bit more support in the kitchen and in the workplace, and they had specialists on hand to kind of support them and help them. So we've got some kind of different aims as well, and this is just an overview, but you can keep on going. And what's best is if, actually I'll go to this next question. This is a fantastic question here from another exam, and you can see the big issues mentioned: Jamie Oliver's Restaurant 15, the Eden Project, which is a project down south. You can look it up actually, and the Fair Trade chocolate company, Divine Chocolate, and the question is, to what extent are social enterprises different from other types of business? We'll talk about all of these in order, say, well, the big issue, in employing homeless people, not many other businesses would employ homeless people because they always want to know if you got an address, where am I going to send your mail to? Jamie Oliver's Restaurant 15, it's about making fantastic quality food. It's about being popular. It's about, having a fantastic place where people can come, everything that they'd want from a normal restaurant. But it's also about training and giving young people a chance. The Eden Project, as far as I know, I've never been, but as far as I know, the Eden Project is kind of an environmental place. They grow things there, and they have these big pods kind of thing. I don't know. Look it up. That's the one I don't know very much about. But I think the aim is for like sustainability and environmental causes. And Divine Chocolate as well. They're actively seeking to pay more for their supplies. That's very different to a lot of other businesses. But again, very similar things that they don't want. They want lots of customers. They want high quality. They want a good brand name, and on and on and on. So you need to know about a range of different not-for-profit organisations. What I would do, biggest tip here, is just look up some of those social enterprises. Make sure you know what the big issue is, 15, Divine Chocolate and Eden Project. And then think about all the similarities and all the differences. Fold a piece of paper in half and see if you can, get 10 similarities and 10 differences between them.